Is
too
no
much.
one
You gotta cut it off. You gotta stop.
talking
you gotta stop.
about
You gotta stop.
the
Stop.
coconut?
Cut.
Hi, welcome to Coconut's first ever podcast. We are going to name it Coconut's Podcast. Is that what we're going to name it?
Yes.
Or another interesting name
No,
that...
Coconut Podcast is fine.
Coconut Podcast is the final
Yes,
one.
Coconut is fine, yes.
Today we have the McLaren 650S to accompany us. Wonderful car, but let's let Sylvester talk more about it.
For this McLaren 650S Spider, we did a 3M satin dark grey wrap on the car with a gloss black roof. And also what we are doing is also touching up the interior. On top of that, lastly, what we are doing is the most exciting part to me is that we are giving this car's front bumper an upgrade to the 675 LT bumper. So craziest car, I think McLarens are one of the best cars on the road to drive, and of course the driving experience is insane. Yeah.
I can attest to the driving experience. After driving one myself, it really hits different from, I don't know if there are Ferrari fans out there, Lambo fans out there, but I will put the comfort level at one of the better ones when we are talking about other supercars. Yeah, less raw, and yet the handling is still there.
I think also, I mean, of course, if you have more than $500,000 to splurge on cars, then I would say McLaren is easily one of the highest.
If you have $500,000, what car would you be, or do you have $500,000? If you have do you have half?
If I have $500,000, I would most likely, if we were to categorize the cars, maybe a 650S, a Ferrari 458, and probably a Huracan, I most likely would pick the McLaren 650S. Yeah, if these are the three options.
So today, one of our topics would be car ownerships in Singapore. Of course, if I'm not wrong, we should be one of the countries that is most expensive to even like put the car on the road to register the car, because we have something called COE. I remember a joke when I was told by my parents when I was young. So, sorry to Malaysians out there, but there was a joke about the former PM saying like, hey, talking to Lee Kuan Yew. Then he said, hey, you see, I so smart. I create proton. Then I keep manufacturing cars and stuff like that. I earn a lot of money. Lee Kuan Yew replied, is fictional, it is just a joke. Lee Kuan Yew replied, wow, you need to make the car, R&D, everything. I want paper earn the same amount as you earn already. Yeah, so this is one of this is one of the jokes that why we have COE. But what's your take on COE? Like for me, I feel that although it's a pain in the ass, it is expensive, but from our city infrastructure, our lack of space and everything, it is essential in my opinion. What are your takes on COE?
I think if we were to measure our country's land area based on the per car, per land area, right? I think COE is, my opinion is also that COE is pretty essential in managing the traffic. If you've actually been overseas, right, then you observe some countries where I've been to Philippines, I've been to Manila, I've been to Indonesia, Jakarta and stuff like that. If you notice the traffic density, even off peaks and on peaks, I think the traffic there is insane. Like you probably have to like be caught in the jam for a good 20-25 minutes for maybe a 3 km kind of thing. If you are this is something that I've seen on my GPS over and over again. And also in Singapore, the traffic jams tend to not get that bad unless it's a very serious traffic. There's a very serious traffic accident.
Of course.
So other than that, I don't think COE. I don't think COE is uncalled for. I think it's something that is heavily essential. Yeah. So that's my opinion.
I mean, even comparing Southeast Asian countries to busy cities like LA, I've been there. The traffic in the highway, again, not even peak hours or what, is crazy. There's standstills. But something I'm very proud of for our city's infrastructure when we are talking about roads and stuff, when we were young, I'm talking about 20 years ago compared to now, actually, do you realize that the gem is like somewhat about the same, or do you realize that it gets better or it's worse? In fact, I feel that maybe there's a chance, maybe I'm not remembering it correctly, but from what I remember, it may even improve, which is the same cannot be said for, I think, most busy cities out there, like you mentioned, Jakarta, Thailand, Bangkok, KL, and stuff like that. Yeah, I feel... What are you nodding?
Next topic. I don't know what to say. There's nothing like we're pretty much caught up there.
Okay. Yeah. So in my opinion, I feel like because of COE, and right now we have 0% growth. So basically, logically speaking, whatever traffic that we are experiencing now, it will be what kind of traffic we'll be experiencing for years to come. And in fact, I mean, we are building roads non-stop. We are building highways. We are building underpasses, overpasses, and stuff like that. In fact, with this 0% growth, I feel that, I mean, logically speaking, it will just get better, which is only possible through a system like the COE, whereby I don't even feel that it's the government's initiative to control the prices, because it's just met by demand and supply from Singaporeans. So right now, COE is like what, 110, 115. Just tells you how rich Singaporeans are.
I think just to dive into the whole topic of COE, recently there are a lot of changes that were made in terms of ARF, in terms of the quantity that's issued on COE and stuff like that. I think if everyone is not very clear on what the changes are, essentially for cars that are past a certain value of ARF, end of 10 years, when you scrap the car, you still get back the same ARF value at a maximum of Singapore $60,000. So it's not like the past anymore, where if you buy a Rolls Royce and the ARF is probably 300,000 or 400,000, and then you get 50% of the ARF. So there are a lot of considerations in place for all car owners, and also especially if you are looking at open cat COE now, it's about 125,000. And so I'm pretty confident, or I wouldn't say confident, I'm pretty certain that prices will continue to rocket, because I don't think the few $1,000s matter to someone that's
So you think that prices will continue to rocket?
I feel that for open cat cars, I feel that it will continue to rise. Yeah.
All right.
So that's just my opinion.
Yeah, but again, I mean, we are not gurus. If not, we won't be sitting here to predict when the COE will drop, when will COE increase. I've been in a car trade for 9 years. We never know, lah. I mean, when COVID hit, when it came back, everyone was saying that recession, people can't afford. But I don't know, man. Singaporeans are, no offense, but differently. They keep complaining. My friends all say, wow, COVID, die lah, this lah, that lah.
Then my friend next year changed to a Porsche Macan.
Yeah, they change
from
cars.
From a CLA 200.
They buy cars like nothing like that. And it's not even our friends or in our car trade or in the circle, in a small circle. The fact that COE is continuing to shoot up just means that supply is maybe the same because of 0%, but the demand is increasing. That drives the prices up by so much. 4 years ago, it was 45,000. Now it's 115,000. It's more than 100% increase.
So I think if we were to trace back, I mean, of course, the increase is one thing. We are also hit by inflation this year or since last year even. So the reported amount is probably 2 to 3%, but I'm quite sure in reality it's more than that. What I would confidently say is that, of course, during the COVID period, the US printed a lot of money, right? So because of how much money they printed in that 1 to 2 years, which it was reported that it could be tenfolds of amount of money that was printed in the last 10 years before COVID. So what you're experiencing now in the world, I think, I'm not a financial expert, is that there's a huge influx of cash and money that is being printed and injected into the system artificially, right? So, and of course, these are measures that were called for at that point of time when everyone was hit by the biggest crisis in the world. So, of course, various governments have to take various measures to ensure that everyone's fine and stuff like that. So, what we're essentially experiencing now is just this huge influx of cash, where a lot of new millionaires are created, new billionaires are created. Then this is where you see the whole chain, the whole new kind of spending being witnessed right in front of our eyes.
And like with crypto and all those, who knows what's the value of money right now. So maybe we have brought it upon ourselves in the cost of living, even owning a simple car. I mean, 4-5 years ago, a Fit is just 60 over 1,000. I mean, it's still expensive. A Fit is 60,000 ringgit in Malaysia probably, but over here it's 60,000 Sing dollars because of COE and stuff like that. Not complaining because we have agreed on COE actually really benefiting us, and simple stuff like traffic and stuff like that does in fact attract foreign investors and make us one of Asia's, or if not the world's, one of the world's best trading cities, I would say. Yeah, for cash injection and investments and stuff like that. Talking about COE, we have, let's talk about the pros and cons of owning a car. For me, look at my signs, the thing about me is I love supper, I love late nights. I mean, comparing, maybe if you talk about the cost to keep grabbing around, even late nights and stuff like that, it may add up to be the same, but then it's just this unspoken thing about having the convenience to head out whenever you want, as compared to if you don't own a car. I would not grab to just nearby or even further away just to have supper. That is my biggest pros to owning a car. So, what about you? What's the pros and cons for you?
I think
fetch girls. Go
no,
gym,
definitely not.
Muscle bigger.
I think what's important to note is, of course, the convenience of time is important, especially for people with very busy schedules, right? Like for myself, I have to move things at pretty fast pace on day to day. So my schedule is really point A, point B, point C, and then probably back to point A again and stuff like that. So it will make a lot of sense for me to have my own car and to move about, right? I think in terms of car sharing, car rental, or even hitching a Grab or a Gojek, I think what I cannot deal with is even the 5-10 minutes of waiting time, firstly. And secondly, like sometimes you just cannot get a car. So that's the thing that really pisses me off a lot. But I guess it's good because the car sharing, car pooling industry is getting a lot of competition. So end consumers are getting good prices, right? On top of that, instead of the old taxi system that we have had, which by the way, I thought the system was really bad, was that taxis at one point of time were choosing their customers and pickups.
They were monopolizing the entire market.
Yes, so yeah. I actually hate it. I don't like it. I think that competition is good. Now that ride sharing apps are coming in, car sharing apps are coming in, companies are coming in, I think it's good because it gives people, it gives consumers a choice, right? And then at the same time, of course, the best always emerges out as the overall winner. So I think in terms of managing car sharing apps, Grab or Gojek and stuff like that, and also compared to ownership, I think what's important is you obviously have to list down your costs very well. And if essentially the car gives you an ROI on a lot of things, right? If you are essentially, I think we are all caught up in a era where we are all kind of superficial. So we generally would want to buy a car that's, of course, to impress the people around us.
Girls,
yeah,
the one.
Probably, or even like family members and stuff like that, right? But I guess the truth is...
The truth is girls.
The truth is, I think that's.
Why are you avoiding the topic?
I think that's one of the dumbest things to do. In my opinion, I think it's one of the stupidest things to do.
To fetch girls.
You are buying something to impress someone that, or some people that really doesn't give a shit about you at all. I think, right? So that's the truth, right? Nowadays we are buying. Oh, I see this guy buying a BMW and he's flexing to people around him and stuff like. Okay, that's fine, yeah, bro, that's fine. It means your car, right? But at the end of the day, you bought it because you want to flex to me. And I don't really give a shit whether you own a BMW. I mean, if I don't really like you, then I still don't like you even if you have a BMW, right? So that's the general. I mean, it's not to target any particular brand, but I think we are all what we're trying to do is we are trying to use the brand to express what we feel as an insecurity.
Okay.
I think on a deeper level, I think that's what I feel. Yeah.
But again, I feel that this is slightly controversial in the sense that there's a good majority that enjoy cars for cars itself. Like for example, if you're talking about, okay, let's say BMW. Like personally, maybe given a choice between the three German makes of Audi, BMW and Merc, I mean personally, I like Merc, not because of the brand or what status it gives me and stuff like that. I just like the look of it. I just like how the AMG sounds like compared to an M. But of course, if you're talking about handling, maybe I prefer the M's handling to the AMG. So stuff like that is controversial, is personal.
I think, okay, I want to stop. I want to cut you there a bit. I want to cut you there over because I put enthusiasts on a level. So I definitely don't put enthusiasts on a level where it's just a facade to show someone else. So people who truly appreciate the M series or even just a regular BMW or even a regular Mercedes entry-level one, I have a deep sense of admiration for people who truly admire cars and not just the make or the logo that makes them feel better. So people who really truly understand cars. So I've put them on a pedestal that where it's also my passion personally and also our passion. I put myself on a pedestal where I appreciate and have a sense of deep admiration for these people. So it's not really more of like a kind of thing where I think everyone is just there for fluff. I think there's just certain people, because like what we say, right, the car prices are high. So we all have a certain budget to live with. And then when we overstretch a certain budget financially, anyway, this is not financial advice once again, I'm not a financial advisor at all, we tend to overspend on certain things where we use to impress other people that really doesn't give a shit about us at all. So
Goals.
Maybe, yeah. So I mean, I kind of used to think that way, but I'm beginning to feel like, oh, you know, as I get older, I think you just need a car mainly to travel around and to move off at the time that you want to move off at. Yeah.
At your case, because of the busy schedule, yeah, I do get sometimes when my car is servicing or what, I just need to get to the point, no Grab. Yeah, it's a pain in the ass. All right, moving on. We are over with the pros and cons of owning a car. No. We are over with the pros of owning a car. So we've talked about convenience. We've talked about being able to, basically convenience, basically being able to control your time.
In terms of the cons wise, I think in Singapore it's pretty straightforward. You once in a while you get some maintenance problems. You of course pay a bit more for fuel. You pay road tax that I think are reasonable if you compare with international standing. Other than that, you're just basically paying a bit more upfront to improve your convenience, which ultimately improves the quality of life for your loved ones as well. So I think we all got to weigh this very well, especially if you have a family of like 4 or 3 or 4 or 5, or let's say you have an elderly at home that you need to ferry about and stuff like that. I think it's also important on one's end to understand what kind of quality of life you look to provide to your close ones and loved ones. And then from there, after you provide this kind of quality of life, whether it's worth it or not. Yeah, so to me, if I can elevate the quality of life to the people around me, it's definitely worth it, especially if you're talking in the context of buying a car. Yeah, so that's my opinion.
That's probably one of the more meaningful things we have said after talking for like 10 minutes, talking about quality of life. You have maybe in future pregnant wife and stuff like that. I mean, how many cases have you guys heard about friends? Oh, I'm going to buy a car because my wife is pregnant now 3-4 months, and they have not even looked at the car for the past 10 years. And they obviously have the capabilities to buy and stuff like that. But because of maybe they view high prices, COE, so to them cons are more, then I think that is one of the biggest issues on why we should own cars in Singapore. And still, in Singapore, right, I feel like with our public transport system and stuff like that, it really is, how to say, a luxury good. Because anywhere here, I mean, given with somebody of a hectic schedule, like you want to get to point A to B in the fastest time possible, or rather have a grasp of at least some time that you can control, nothing about the traffic and stuff like that, because we have established that it's not that bad. The traffic is like you leave at 4 p.m., you know roughly how long it's going to take. But if you are comparing it to, for example, LA, I've been to LA 3 times. One time was without renting a car. It was horrendous. Like for that, it was no longer a luxury good to be able to drive, more of something that's essential, more of a necessity. But that being said, you can just have $1,000, right? And you can get like a car that can get you from point A to point B, and that is why the traffic there is crazy lah.
So actually, to add on to what Asaph has said, right, which I definitely agree with, I think if you were to compare the public transport system in Singapore to the personal transport system, I think it gives you a fair fight in your mind whether it's really worth it to buy a car, or you could still deal with a little bit of slight inconveniences here and there. In terms, because if we were to compare the public transport system of some countries, right, you realize that it does not really give you a fair competition in your mind. It's a straight up easy decision in terms of, it's definitely buying a car, right? But for us, we are in this city state where we almost have an MRT station in every aspect, in every town, in every area,
and expanding,
and a bus stop, and
it just gets more and more.
Yeah, and the government is not stopping anytime soon. So I do not see. I mean, if you were to ask me to decide today, I would say that the competition is stiff. I literally have to really break down the pros and cons properly to decide if I really need a car or if I really want a car. Yeah, so there's this real struggle. There's a real struggle.
But of course, sure, on Coconut's point of view, you should buy a car.
I definitely want to be as neutral as possible. However, if you buy a car, we definitely will get more business.
Yeah.
Essentially speaking.
Clean the car for you. We will wrap the car for you. So this is like a commercial break. Talking about our services, we will clean the car for you. We will wrap the car for you. Singapore's weather is hot. We will do a solar farm for you. Whatever it is to do with cars lah. And it's no.
Okay, I gotta cut him off at this commercial break. It's too much. We gotta cut him off. We gotta stop.
Talking about.
You gotta stop.
The coconut.
Cut.
Okay, so today we have off a not so serious topic about this red Swastika incident. Okay, you can show your handsome face already. Yeah, your face up enough already. So we had last year we had an incident outside red Swastika whereby this Bentley driver, I don't know, I generally don't know why.
So let me explain what happened first.
Things happen.
So let me explain what happened. So basically there was a queue. I assume it's time to go to school or it's off school. So everyone is most parents are picking up their kids, right? So there's a queue form outside. And then this car just cut in, this Bentley just cut the queue and tried to go enter into the school. So the security guard that is managing the crowd stopped him from going in, which I think is the right thing to do. And then what happened was there was a confrontation where even the passenger on the left took her camera out and filmed the security guard and stuff like that. Subsequently, what happened was that the driver inched his car forward and knocked into the security guard, which resulted in him having to take MC because he has a bruised knee, right? So this video,
He has a Bruce Lee.
Bruce
knee.
A bruised knee.
Bruce knee.
Yeah. So
Okay.
subsequently, what happened was that this video was uploaded on a lot of Facebook pages, and then it garnered so much public interest, right? So what happened was that also, because it garnered so much public interest, the internet, as usual, the internet is undefeatable, right?
You can't do anything wrong now.
The internet is undefeated. All right, it's undefeated. So what happened was that they went to CSI, someone went to CSI out that there's this car plate that's on the Bentley in the video and it's not tagged to any car currently existingly. So a deeper investigation was done. And so then they realized that the car plate is even not tagged to this Bentley. So there was a big hoo-ha that was going on. So there was a lot of issues, and then they realized that it's actually tagged to a car dealership, and there were a lot of explanations given, like they were going to use this for a photo shoot because it looks better with a 2-digit car number plate and stuff like that. So that was when a lot of things unraveled, and which is what we just saw earlier in the video. Yeah.
So the back end details are stuff like the driver on that day itself got 8 weeks jail,
Imprisonment, yep.
And a fine. I think it's $600, something like that. I mean, personally, I don't feel that 600 is enough for his actions. Then something on a more serious note, his son that was probably responsible for the changing of car plates, the lack of insurance, the motor trade insurance and stuff like that. He got a $2,000 fine. A bit more, but I still feel like, all these legislations are less necessary than the one that actually drove into the security guard and stuff like that. I feel like that human nature-wise, that one is unforgivable. Okay, maybe we never know what the situation was. Maybe he just has to take a shit for all we know. That he has no choice but to cut the queue like that. But the fact that, unpopular opinion, he made that turn. He cut in. I saw the other lane, there were no cars coming out. What are your thoughts about whatever, to me, whatever actions that, like maybe we can give him a warning or whatever it is, complain to the traffic police, send a video. After taking the video, maybe the security guard could have just let him pass, park somewhere so that it doesn't block like the other cars and stop the traffic.
No, I have to stop you there. I don't think this is acceptable because everyone is queuing there, right? Then, based on actions, for all we know, this could have been the second time or third time. And he has been having his way since day one and stuff like that, right? And if the security guard were to let him in, I feel that it's a bit of injustice to everyone that's been queuing probably a good 20 minutes there
definitely.
or something. So I think it's not something that's uncalled for. I think the security guard is doing his job. He's managing the crowd, managing the entrance and the exit into the school, which I would say that he was doing a pretty good job, right? It's just that during certain hours where there are a lot of pickups and drop-offs, definitely you experience a higher traffic flow and there's a jam, right? So I definitely do not agree with what was done. I think in the first place, you're in the wrong. You're cutting the queue, right? And secondly, despite being the wrong, you are pushing around a lot of things. And also, just to be very neutral on this whole thing, I think, let's say if you were denied entry and if you just want to be smarter about it, you could always tell your child to walk out of school and you can just pick them by the road. So since you were already denied entry, right?
And since the internet, right, we like to judge and stuff like that, right? My own judgment is that the fact that they can walk out and take the videos doesn't show that they are even slightly remorseful of their actions.
Exactly, which also I was face palming myself. I was like you are already in the wrong. You come out of the vehicle, you take your camera and you just start filming like as if you're not in the wrong. You're angry at someone for not letting you coming in, and then you inch your vehicle forward, which caused an injury to someone, I think that is beyond acceptable.
So 8 weeks, 600, caught or uncalled for.
Okay,
Maybe we should name this segment caught or uncalled for.
I think to set some ground context, right? Usually when it comes to sentencing, the courts in Singapore, they have certain guidelines to follow. So we generally use a lot of case law in Singapore, right? So what we do is we use past precedents, and then what we do is we use the facts and see if they're similar, and then we try to sentence accordingly if the facts are similar or if there are any additional aggravating factors and stuff like this. So for this particular scenario, right, this guy has the Bentley driver in particular. He had a past criminal record, right? So I think sometime back he actually punched someone in the face. It was a road rage incident apparently. So there was this whole issue like this guy is a recalcitrant offender. We should go hard on him. And also like I feel that with the internet now, I think it's important, and it's just super bad PR. I think it's just super bad PR. It's like you are just straight up in the wrong. There's no room to even say like
no
why.
escaping,
There's no room to even justify like why you cut the queue, right? Like I'm pretty sure the reason is not something. It's something substantive to even justify you cutting the queue.
I would say even if it's substantive, right? I mean, if they reason themselves out as to like coming out to explain properly, or even like if your body language is not that bad, not that adamant about, oh, wow, I'm taking out a video, stuff like that, I'm in the right, or the kind of thing, there is still some room as to like, if it really happens, I'll just hear like, hey, why you do this? Oh, okay. Oh, but hey, next time don't cut queue lah, or what. But who knows? Maybe he has done it 2-3 times, countless times every day, that maybe on that fine day, the security guard was like, okay, this is the last day you should do it. And it garnered this kind of negative reaction from basically the perpetrator in this
also
example.
So we have talked about the injury and all that behavior and stuff and sentencing, right? So then the other aspect was that one or two of them was charged and sentenced for the fact that they were driving a vehicle without proper insurance, because apparently the car was tagged to a motor trade insurance that belonged to a particular car dealership, which I'm not very aware of the name of the car dealership. And also, for us to prevent certain legal consequences, it's better that we don't talk about this. But so it was tagged to a particular dealership, and generally a motor trade insurance is for you to. There are certain hours tagged to the insurance, if I'm not wrong. Firstly, right?
If I'm not wrong, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m.
Yeah. So generally, you won't test drive a car beyond 7 p.m. Or generally, right? So let's say if you were driving a car, so the problem is not whether you're driving between 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. The problem is that if you get into an accident, how are you going to explain to the insurance company that you were test driving a car at 9:30 p.m. at CTE going at 120 kilometers per hour, and then you rear-ended another car? And why should the insurance company insure? I think that's one of the problems that could have been snowballed into a way bigger problem, right? And also, by the way, I think the whole explanation that the car was taken out for a photo shoot is a steaming pile of bullshit. To me, in my opinion, it's a huge steaming pile of bullshit. So how is it possible that you were taking the car to Red Swastika school to pick up your kid, and then you were on the way to do a photo shoot? I mean, to me, I think if we were to really think logically and in a very reasonable mindset, I don't think this is an absolute steaming pile of bullshit, which I hope, or I'm not sure if it was taken into consideration at all. But yeah, so I mean, ultimately he was fined $2,200, right? Which once again, I think, I'm not sure on the legal guideline on this whole thing, like how much could the judge could potentially go up to, right? So I would say that, okay, I think the case is concluded. Parties that should have been prosecuted has been prosecuted. Parties that should have been fined has been fined.
Jailed has been jailed.
Sentenced and now probably in prison now. I'm not sure, but I hope we could all learn from this. Like the general consensus on the woke crowd is that we kind of already hate the ultra rich. We used to salute the guy in the limo, right? But we kind
Now we don't anymore.
Yeah, we kind of hate the rich people nowadays. I'm not sure why, right? But we kind of hate the rich people nowadays. So and assuming that you are kind of wealthy or loaded, and I think this is where it's important that you mitigate your actions, because there are so much eyeballs on you, right? There are a lot of attention on you, and there are a lot of things that can be viewed as to your actions. So actually, honestly, I feel that if this car is not a Bentley, I don't think that people would have given so much shit about it. It's because this is a clear case of the rich oppressing the not so rich, right?
Okay.
Yeah, so I
Makes
think
sense.
I feel that that's like one of the contexts in terms of PR, right? So then the next day the headline all just has to write is rich Bentley driver assaulted a security guard.
So what you're trying to
So
say?
the headline is just it's a GG headline. It's a GG. There's no turning back. It's a GG headline.
What you're trying to
Right.
say is that right now the moral of the whole story is the richer you are, the more guai you should be.
Generally the richer people are pretty low profile, right? Because they try to stay away from these kind of headlines, right? I mean, this kind of headlines is just absolutely bad PR,
Yep.
right? So just next day, pam, Bentley driver drives into security guard at school. Yeah, all you need is this, and it doesn't matter what kind of reasons or explanations you have. It's just a GG headline. Yeah. So I think this is just an absolutely. I think it's outrageous. I don't think that this kind of action should be condoned at all, especially if hurting another human being is being involved.
Yeah, that's the where I draw the line on the ugliest part about human nature lah. Doesn't matter about the number plate, legislation, breaking all this that kind of doesn't harm anyone actually. But if you're talking about this ugly side of human behavior, then that's where I personally draw the line. So to me, it's called for. To me, it's called for because we are naming this called or uncalled for. And are we? Maybe. Okay. Then shaking. Then giving up. Maybe.
So you are saying if the sentence is called or uncalled for?
I feel it's called for because on a white collar thing like the number plate, a heavier fine is imposed. Then on a ugly drawing line of human nature thing, there's a jail term imposed. It doesn't matter whether it's 2 weeks, 8 weeks, 8 months or what, but then the meaning of jail to me is there lah, when you have such a unforgivable, I would say, or rather a ugly act like that. Yeah, then I think it's called for.
So I'm definitely I'm definitely with Asaf on this. I feel that this is absolutely called for. I definitely do not agree with what was being done by the Bentley driver and stuff like that. So these are the things that we want to just highlight to everyone. I mean, like things could have just been mitigated so much better, right? Like what if he just turned away? What if he just reversed the car slowly and he just moved away and you just tell your child or your children if you can just you just walk out. We have missed the queue, that kind of thing. I do not think that it warrants. It's just a slight difference in decision making. It could have changed the pathway of this whole thing so much.
Or maybe sure they have a strong reason to do that, but again, whatever reason, it didn't call for that subsequent action to take place lah. I feel
totally
we were not there to know exactly what's the
totally
story.
unacceptable.
Yeah,
So-
but the
so-
second part of the inching forward to me that whatever strong your reasons are, the jail term is I would say
Yep.
it was essential lah. Yeah.
All right.
Okay, I think that wraps up our first
episode
ever podcast of Coconuts Podcast. The name may be changed on a later date if we have something more fun like caught or uncaught for.
If you like us to comment or react to certain videos or highlights of the week, please feel free to submit it to us or let us know in the comment box below. We definitely will try to respond to this and give our opinions and thoughts on all these things, right? So once again, thank you for tuning in to the Coconut Podcast. We'll see you on the next episode.
Again, let me slot in a very quick marketing commercial here.
Just cut. Just cut.